is going on, everybody? Sixers get the W. If you don't already know, this is the Painted Lines. I'm Justin. I got my man Dibes with me here. We are the Painted Lines, like I said, and this is the Sixers post game show for Game 5, where they just came in with the W, 129-112, without their big man Joel Embiid. Man, how excited are you right now, Dibes?
Oh, let's go! Let's go, Sixers fans. Guys, tonight is for Philadelphia. Tonight is for the Sixers. The Sixers get the W. We're moving on to the second round, likely taking on the Atlanta Hawks. Justin, can you keep us updated on that score, by the way?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As we proceed here on the post-game show. Lots and lots to talk about tonight. So many positives from the bench, from Tyrese Maxey, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, Seth freaking Curry. This is going to be an apology show as well, because I've talked a lot of trash on Mr. Dwight Howard, and Dwight was insane tonight. That little two-man game between Tyrese Maxey and Dwight Howard, that could be a real weapon heading into the next series. I think they might have found something there, top to bottom. Doc Rivers coaching his ass off in this game. There's a lot to talk about. I'm excited, man. Are you excited?
Oh, my God, yeah. And it seems like Marky Mark's excited as well, putting all the W's in the chat. We got Ben Butler in here with us. Excited. What's up, Justin Dabbs? What is up with you, Ben? We got everybody in here super excited. We are moving on to the next round of the playoffs. The Hawks right now are up 85-71. Man, it's looking like we're most likely going to be going up against the Hawks in the next round of the playoffs. But more importantly, let's talk about this game, because this game was exciting. It was fun, and there's a lot of things to hit on. You already hit on Dwight Howard, but the biggest story tonight is it on Seth Curry. Seth Curry, man, career high for his playoffs, for the playoffs for him, 30 points on 10 of 17 shooting, 3 for 6 from three, 100% from the line. An insane game by Seth Curry tonight, and you love to see it. You love to see it. And speaking of insane, we got the insane man Rob Landry joining, and the even more insane Chris Coyle joining. What is up, people?
Hide the children.
Oh my goodness! Listen.
Everyone here.
Listen, guys, we were just saying how great of a night Seth Curry had. Anybody want to talk about Seth Curry tonight?
I want to talk about Seth Curry real quick. 7 quick points, bang, bang, there in the first quarter. Just was lights out there in the second quarter, 14 points. But how do you not talk about the third quarter with Seth Curry? Step back three, gets a floater. At one point, he had 11 straight points there to start the third quarter. Seth Curry, he struggled there in Game 4, delivered in Game 5.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have literally sat here all season and argued with people about Seth Curry, because every single time the guy had a bad game, the idiots that are in this town, because there is a faction of idiots, okay? There's a group of them. They're the Ben haters and the Seth haters. They would rip this guy. Oh, what are we doing with this guy? He's not the right piece. He's not. This is why you have Seth Curry. This guy is a gamer, okay? And look, it pains me to say that. As a Carolina fan, looking at a Duke guy, it pains me to say that. But Seth Curry saw what was happening tonight. He saw a team in the first quarter that was, trying to feel out without Joel Embiid. And he said, I'm going to be the guy that makes the big shots when needed. And then guys like Ben, but let's listen. Dibes, I remember sitting here with you draft night. I remember your excitement when Tyrese Maxey was drafted. I remember saying, I don't know much about this guy. And you were like, I'm telling you, he's a guy. How much of a genius does Doc look like? Doc left this guy on the leash all year, and then in Game 5 said, go get him, kid. He changed in the first half. He was major in changing the tides with his energy.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is that there's one Curry still in the playoffs.
The other one's in the stands. The other one's watching from the Wells Fargo Center.
Just saying. There's one in the playoffs.
Listen,
And
Ian said it right here. Ian said it right here.
The
better
better Curry.
Curry.
Listen, man, what an insane game from him. But Rob just touched on Tyrese Maxey, man. Tyrese Maxey, for one,
Oh my God.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, 26 minutes tonight. Tyrese Maxey, 26 minutes. He only had 13 points, but you couldn't tell me he didn't have 30. You could have told me he had 30, and I'd be like, oh, really? Okay, yeah. Because that's the kind of effort I saw on the court. That's the kind of stuff I heard from the crowd tonight. It was insane.
There was like a vibe. Like, you could feel the energy every single time that Maxey touched the ball from the fans. I don't know if you guys felt that, but It was very clear on my end. Like, he came out in the first quarter and had that missed dunk on the baseline that would have just brought the house down. He had, like you said, Justin, he shot 1 of 5 in that first quarter, but you couldn't tell me, man. He was a +4. He was doing it all over the court there. But he blocked Ish Smith's shot. He finished through contact against Bradley Beal there on a fast break. He had at one point had 6 straight points in the second quarter. What Tyrese Maxey continues to do here in the playoffs is nothing short of remarkable. He's pretty much taken Shake Milton out of the rotation single-handedly. That's how dynamic he has been as this lightning rod off the bench. And his ability to score in ISO, his ability to score in pick and roll, his ability to score in transition, and really dominate Raul Neto, Ish Smith has been the storyline. And he has been terrific, absolutely terrific. Tyrese Maxey deserves everything coming to him. And like I said at the start of the show, that little two-man game of him and Dwight, if that becomes a legit weapon for this team, because honestly, for me, we're going to get to it. The story of this game is the bench, and we're going to get into that. But that dynamic two-man game between Tyrese Maxey and Dwight Howard had a magic about it. It had a magic about it that the Wizards had no answer for. That was an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, I put this up on my Twitter, I think early in the fourth quarter, but I put Maxey's rookie to-do list. Get drafted, show 20 teams why they should have picked him, take Shake Milton's minutes, take over a playoff game, and win the Sixers fans over. So,
yeah, I love Shake. Yeah. It's hard. It's bittersweet. Yeah. It's 100% bittersweet for me.
Yep. I get it. Listen, coming into the season, I literally was saying I think Shake Milton and Dwight Howard could be the next Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell of the East. I really did. I literally said that because I'm like, Shake Milton showed so much last year, and in a pick and roll with how he played in the G League, I was super excited to see him play with Dwight Howard, and just did not come to fruition this year.
Maxey has the potential to be everything we thought Markelle Fultz would be. Yeah. But his pick and roll game, he knows he knows what he's going to do before the screen even comes. He knows what's going to happen.
I just want to touch on that, Rob. It was the plays that didn't hit the box score that were so mind-blowing from Tyrese Maxey. That crossover he had on Raul Neto there in the third quarter, it almost brought me back to Allen Iverson. His first step, his potential, like you said, Rob, in a pick-and-roll offense is everything that you dream about. His first step to get to the rim, finish through contact. We talked about it during the pregame show. It's like 1.5 points per possession driving to the basket. He's unstoppable, absolutely unstoppable in terms of first step, speed, got the ball on a handle, and just every single time just dominates there at the rim. But that crossover was I couldn't even see it. And it had potential to be one of the best highlights of the playoff series, but unfortunately, it got tipped, I think, by Daniel Gafford. Sorry, Rob.
No. And I was going to say, not only that, Maxey on defense does exactly what this team wants. But what makes him so beneficial to this group is when he comes off the bench, that one of the first guys off the bench has got to be instant energy. Mm-hmm. So now it's Dwight Howard and him off the bench. That's what those guys are. Yeah. Now, Maxey's obviously very skilled on top of the energy. But you put their energy with the veteran presence of a George Hill, who really it was just a quiet major pro in this series for the Sixers team.
Definitely.
He just does the little things right. He keeps things where they need to be. But
real quick, George Hill was a +10 tonight, and he didn't even shoot a shot. Had 2 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, didn't shoot a single shot, 1 steal, 2 for 2 from the line, +10.
What Rob's talking about is those little deflections. Like, he had so many little deflections tonight, or little things that just kind of like, crowd was going, boom, he hits something, it takes the crowd out. It just, those little professional things that George Hill brings that, like, once again, are not in the box. You're not seeing on the stat line, you're not seeing it on the whatever, but they just add to this team that is such a needed presence. And it's what's needed in that presence. And it's what the Sixers had kind of been missing in these past years of pushing into the runs.
And I talked about this on my preview, is that will Doc Rivers make the adjustments necessary to put the ball in the hands of Tyrese Maxey and George Hill? Because those two have absolutely crushed and dominated this series. And he did it tonight. We're going to be talking about a lot of positives. Doc Rivers definitely checks that box for a positive tonight.
And speaking of the moves that Doc Rivers has made tonight, he moved Ben Simmons to the 5 to start out this game, and we haven't even talked about Ben's big night yet tonight. Ben has a triple-double in the playoffs, 19 points, 11 assists, 10 rebounds, an efficient 7 for 11 from the field with 2 blocks and a steal. 5 for 8 from the free throw line also.
I was just going to say, 5 for 8. When Scott Brooks went to hack a Ben in the first half, first of all, listen, I understand, if it's allowed, it's a strategy. That is such a bullshit, bogus strategy. It's lame. It's desperate. And it's an absolute disgrace that that's allowed in the professional basketball league.
Well, Rob, when
your
team is no match for another team that, when half the series backup players or bench players have been playing your starters, I feel like it's kind of okay. Like, I was just like, our bench has kind of been playing their starters. This is, I'll accept it. I'll accept it.
By the way, the fan reaction when he went to the line tells you that it's just a loud minority who can't accept Ben Simmons for who he is. It's not the majority. It's a loud minority of idiots who just and look, Austin said this on Twitter. They don't know basketball. They just don't know basketball. If you can't appreciate what Ben Simmons does on a basketball floor, I don't know what to tell you. You just have no clue. You have no clue.
They don't watch the game. And so Ben Simmons was all over the court tonight, making the extra pass, being efficient. That hack of Ben was hilarious. When we do name that Sixers during watch parties and all that kind of stuff, you can bet the bank that who was that guy that came in there to hack Ben Simmons? It was Garrison Matthews. Garrison Matthews will forever go in the Philadelphia sports history books. I will never forget that name, just like all those random summer league guys. But can we talk about the bench? Can we just talk a little bit about the Sixers bench? Because
definitely. One thing before you get into it, we had a comment on here that said, "How do we talk about bench energy and not even mention Matisse?" And that's the thing. The fact that the bench we can talk about the bench energy without talking about Matisse is amazing.
Well, I mean, Matisse started tonight, right? So he's not bench.
But
that's a fact.
So we don't have to talk about that.
Not only that, just look at it. The last 3 out of the 4 years that they've gotten to the second round now. The last 2 years that they did, and even last year when they got swept, the biggest issue was when they went to the bench, everything broke down. Everything went to hell.
Yep.
Tonight, it was the bench in the first quarter and end of the first quarter, early second quarter that sparked this team because it was a struggle there early, and Washington was hitting every damn thing they shot. But it was the bench that came in, and it's so nice. And look, this goes beyond Doc because this goes to Daryl Morey and this goes to the building of this roster, which we all said in the beginning of the season. Yeah. Ben and Joel are great players, but you got to get the right pieces around them. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to sit here and declare this a championship year yet or anything like that, but they got guys that fit the idea of the right pieces around them in the starting 5 and then in that first 5 off the bench. It's so much fun to watch when you know a guy comes in off the bench and you're not going, oh shit, what's going to happen now?
Yeah.
No, I was early in the game when I saw Mike Scott come in.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Mike Scott only ended up playing 6 minutes on the night.
Yeah.
Or 5 minutes on the night.
Matisse Thybulle and just deserves so much credit for, truly limiting Bradley Beal here, who I thought personally was outstanding in this entire series.
To get him on this team. I love Bradley Beal.
Like
Bradley Beal,
he had 32 points tonight, but he had to work for every single point in this series versus Matisse Thybulle and Ben Simmons. You look at overall before tonight, Thybulle and Simmons held Beal to just 11 of 40 from the field and 1 of 15 from 3. Mm-hmm. And I was watching the game tonight with my boy Coyle there, and like, how many times do you watch a game like no matter what you do, like the guy's gonna get his. The guy is gonna get his. He's absolutely terrific. They did a great job containing him.
The problem that you have with Beal is that he needs the ball in his hand all the time.
Yeah,
like you watch. He just needs possessions. He needs to be able to control literally everything. And I don't think that necessarily fits this team. I would love Bradley Beal, but he doesn't fit this team. It takes away from Embiid. It takes away from the different parts of this team that you're building about, which is 3D. And you're not going to win with a player like, and I consider him like an Allen Iverson player. And you're not going to win with a player like that, a guy who's attacking and he's just awesome and amazing to watch. But look, they're exiting first round.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I'm of the opinion that I do think Beal could play with Embiid pretty well, although I understand he is more ball dominant. I do think the way that Embiid has played this year shows you just how, like, my first thing goes back to how JJ and him used to play and how the high dribble handoffs, that kind of stuff. And mind you, that's obviously not Beal's game completely, but just running that sort of action, but Beal driving to the rim and getting to the free throw line like he does already. I just think that would be an insane threat having those two kind of guys playing with each other. But I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Kind of talking about what Mark's saying here with this. I have no problem if it has anything with matchups. Like if it matchups with matchups.
Here's the other thing too with that is Doc is very big on playing the hot hand, and I like that as well. Like he's not just gonna stick with his look at Maxey played in the last 5 minutes of tonight's game because he was the hot hand of this game. He was like had electricity coming on. Matchups and hot hand is what Doc's been doing, and I think that's completely okay.
Listen, and I think you can probably go 10 deep in the next round, regardless of if it's the Hawks or the Knicks, looking more and more like the Hawks. I think you could probably do that, but I'm telling you right now, if it's the Nets or the Bucks really in the next round, look, I know Furkan hit some good shots tonight. I know he likes to give Shake a couple minutes. These guys can't play against the Nets. These guys can't play against the Bucks. You got to go with the guys that give you the best matchups and the best opportunity to win. Shake is already a liability defensively, and now he's forgotten how to dribble a basketball and shoot.
And shoot.
I mean, he is totally – you want to talk about a guy who has lost every ounce of confidence, and it's not for a lack of playing him. It's just he's playing piss poorly.
It sucks too because the thing that I can at least appreciate it because I'm a big Shake fan. Like I've liked Shake since I've started watching the Sixers. I really have. But Doc gave him every chance he could. He gave him this whole season of him being the sixth man. He gave him this most of the first series of playoffs playing more minutes than Tyrese Maxey, and just Tyrese seems to be just living up to the moment a lot more than Milton has, and you can't blame him for that.
And I think that comes from the actual experience that they have in playing in big moments, right?
Yeah.
You look at Shake, and Shake got a lot of his aggressiveness coming against a lot of G League, or comes a lot against playing against end of game playing where he's attacking and he's doing these certain things. Well, in the NBA playoffs, these things starting to tighten up a little bit, and you start to get those guys who are given that 110% rather than that 80% at the end of the game. And you're starting to see Maxey just feel very comfortable in that position. And that comes from where he comes from, right?
That's what I was going to say. Maxey embraces this moment. Maxey was built for this moment. I was talking to somebody this week who said, I think what happened with Maxey was he didn't have the opportunity to show you how he shines in a big moment like the NCAA tournament because it was canceled during his, lone year in college. And if it had happened, Maxey probably goes in the top 10.
Correct.
So
benefited from it.
Yeah. So Dibs, what you got? What you got?
Tyrese Maxey has played 77 plus minutes in the playoffs. 2 turnovers. 2 turnovers by Tyrese Maxey so far in this series. Well, in this series is absolutely dynamic. Until tonight, I don't know what the stats are defensively yet. Until we'll find out in the morning. But he's holding in this series 35% from the floor. Tyrese Maxey is holding the Wizards to 35% from the floor. What is it from three-point range? 33% from three-point range. Dude, if that's not a recipe for getting in Doc Rivers' rotation, I don't know what is. And I do suspect that you're going to – as good as Dwight Howard is, and I really want to talk about Dwight Howard too tonight because he was just unbelievable. That's going to happen. Dwight's playing moving forward. And if that becomes a weapon between him and Tyrese Maxey, my gosh, there's so much to talk about in that. They just look so good feeding off each other in the pick and roll. Maxey is 100% getting everything coming to him in the second round and beyond. Of course, matchups are going to dictate that. Going up against Drew Holiday is a little bit different than going up against Ish Smith or Raul Neto. So that obviously. So we will see. And that is so important, though, because when you talk about Kyrie Irving, you talk about Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, those guys need to work on the defensive end. And having a spark plug like Tyrese Maxey that will force these guys to put, 100% on that side of the basketball court is super important because, it's a two-way game. So Tyrese Maxey is going to become a household name really soon. It's been just a joy to kind of watch him take these next steps.
Listen, you know who else is going to make a name for themselves in the playoffs if they keep playing like this? Tobias Harris.
Wow.
Tobias Harris, we haven't even talked about yet this game, and he has been playing really well this season, and every game but last game where Joel went out randomly throughout the game, he's been playing well. Tonight, 28 points, 9 of 17 shooting, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, a block, 8 of 10 from the free throw line. The one thing you notice tonight, getting to the line a lot more than he typically does and getting a lot more assists than he typically does, playing faster, less dribbles tonight, being more decisive. Right. And you saw a lot of that tonight in comparison to what you did yesterday. So let's talk about Tobias. Dibs, I want to hear from you first about this.
He was my key. He was the number one key with Joel Embiid not playing in Game 5. Tobias Harris, his ISO game in Game 4 was god-awful. Not only was Doc Rivers' game plan god-awful, Tobias Harris had to step up tonight, and he delivered. And we can talk all about the free throws. We can talk all about the offense. For me, I thought his defense was absolutely terrific, especially in the second half, generating steals, deflecting passes, creating opportunities for Ben Simmons, making unbelievable passes to feed Ben Simmons underneath the rim. Tobias Harris, that efficient Tobias Harris, stepped up. He delivered. I mean, what more can you say? Because Tobias Harris had to elevate his game, and he's truly been struggling in ISO scoring in this series. 50%, by far less than what he was scoring in the regular season. His clutch numbers were way down. So just a huge win for Tobias Harris.
All I got to say is I got a Tobias Harris Series 1 NBA Top Shot to the moon. Let me say, let's go. That's what I'm hoping for. I literally picked it up for nothing in the offseason. During the season. And you know what? It's been just climbing since I picked it up, and it's going to go through the moon during this playoffs, and I can't wait. Can't wait.
Listen,
I don't think anybody knows what an NBA Top Shot is.
Oh, everyone knows what NBA Top Shot is.
But so, Rob, what are your thoughts on Tobias Harris?
Yeah, listen, when Doc Rivers became the coach here, the hope was he would be able to tie back in with Tobias and get him back playing like he did with the Clippers. And, I mean, it's gone beyond that at this point. I know that in the offseason there were a lot of people that wanted to trade Tobias. I was not that guy. I thought Tobias was a perfect third piece with a Ben Simmons and a Joel Embiid. And he's showing that in all aspects. And he showed that in this series outside of Game 4, which, let's face it, Game 4 was just a debacle. Embiid gets hurt, the worst officiating I've ever friggin' seen. It was just a debacle. And they still almost won the damn game, with all that being said. What you saw from Tobias Harris tonight was a quiet, I'm going to do what's needed on me. When they need me to score, I'll score. When they need me to pass, I'll pass. When they need me to defend, I'll defend. I mean, he made a couple really big plays on the defensive end as well today. Tobias Harris is a pro's pro. He's a perfect second scoring option, but third option of the big three there for this team. And, look, credit him, but credit Doc Rivers for getting the best out of his guys too.
Did anybody else get nervous when the first possession of the game offensively, Tobias Harris got blocked by Daniel Gafford, and I was like, oh, no. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Coyle's fiance also blocked Tobias Harris.
She did.
In Game 4.
She was like, nah, nope.
Jesus Christ.
So awesome.
So what else do you guys have about this game specifically? Like what players stood out to you? I mean, I think another guy you could talk about, Furkan Korkmaz, had a good night tonight. Yeah. 14 minutes, 10 points in those 14 minutes, 4 for 8 shooting. I mean, overall +8. You can't complain about that. That's a guy who really, if Shake Milton is not going to be the piece you need him to be, that's a guy you need to be shooting the ball well at least. So definitely having a good game tonight and had a pretty decent series all around. So what are your guys' opinion of his series?
So I'll kind of go first. So Furkan's, I love what Doc's doing with him, where it's if he's on, he's in. If he's not, he's out. And it's kind of what he's been all season, but he's kind of let him struggle a little bit during the games during the season, and him just having a short leash on him, just pulling him as soon as he sees, you're not hitting, get him on the bench. Yeah.
How about you, Dabs?
I'm just looking at these stats. Give me 1 second.
Rob,
I'm good.
Okay.
Furkan Korkmaz, 15, 19, 21, 8. We just finished a playoff series where Furkan Korkmaz finished as a +29. Let's think about that.
Yes.
+29. Considering he entered this playoff series shooting on average in 3 playoff seasons, 29% from 3-point range. Furkan, his defense has stepped up all year long. He's made shots all year long. He deserves so much credit. We tend to kind of give him some slack, just like we do with every single player on the Philadelphia 76ers. You're right, Rob. The issues, the matchup issues are real when we get into the next round and beyond. But Furkan deserves so much credit for showing that he is a real NBA player, an upcoming NBA player. What did he get tonight? 10 points. And I go back to that
10 points in 14 minutes.
Yeah, that fourth quarter 3-pointer he hit was just massive. Absolutely massive. It was a momentum making 3-pointer. Furkan Korkmaz, man, deserves everything coming to him.
Now, Rob, you want to talk about Furkan? Yeah.
Here, listen, give the guy credit because he's had a lot of big moments this year. He's had a lot of good runs. And I do. And I give him credit for everything he's done. I want to see less and less of Furkan Korkmaz as the playoffs go on. And it becomes a matter of, look, and I know there's guys out there. I know that they're out there. They're going to try and come at me. Okay. Yes, Steve. Yes. The series would have been over in a sweep. Why did you have to get rid of Tony Bradley?
Right here. Us too. Tony Bradley.
Right. That's right. Yes. Yes.
Tony Bradley right here. We would have won.
Tony Bradley was sitting at home watching Game 4 going, we ain't losing if I'm there. That's all I'm going to say. Leave it at that. You know, Tony Bradley is the keys. He would have been nice on the kick. As good as Furkan has been, the deeper you get into an NBA playoffs, the less I want to see of him. Part of that is because as good as the bench has been, you don't want to go more than 8 or 9 deep. And let's face it, Maxey, if Embiid's healthy, that means Thybulle's coming off the bench. That means George Hill's coming off the bench. That means Dwight Howard's coming off the bench. And they're the 4 guys that you're going to want to see the most minutes from. Now, guy gets in foul trouble, whatever, you could go to a Furkan. To be honest with you, over a Shake, over anybody else that you could bring in off of that bench right now. So as great as it's been, the less you see Furkan, I believe that means the better it's going for the 76ers.
Yeah. I kind of also would talk about like the Furkan thing, right? Because in the beginning of the season, I was 100% against Furkan getting any minutes whatsoever. He has shown a lot of growth this year where I'm kind of not necessarily agreeing with Rob. I want to see him maybe a little bit, not like constant playing, but I have no problem with them putting him in with his not being such a defensive liability that he has been in the past, right? So even this series kind of showed that he's somewhat able to play some type of defense. And if he is hitting threes, I'm saying put it in, because I've seen Danny Green this a couple times where I'm seeing him just not hitting anything and then not hitting threes at all, not playing defense at all, where I might be okay with a Furkan coming in and being able to play a little bit more defense if his 3 ball is falling.
I think the one thing you have seen recently is compared to like the first 3 quarters of the regular season is that Doc Rivers ran a lot of the offense through Furkan Korkmaz, and you're not seeing that anymore. Mm-hmm. You're seeing Korkmaz kind of be off ball. You're seeing kind of Furkan be purely that floor spacer, whereas previously you saw him facilitating the pick and roll. You saw him much more involved than I kind of liked there at the start of the regular season. I think we're seeing Furkan Korkmaz in a much more clear role, and I think that's only helping him right now. With Tyrese Maxey taking off in the pick and roll, with George Hill just being that pro running the pick and roll. We have our secondary ball handlers there. Those are 2 guys that can beat their man off the dribble, penetrate, drive, kick. Now we've got Korkmaz kind of playing his more natural role as that pure floor spacer. So I agree with you, Coyle. Obviously, in the playoffs, come playoff time, you're only as good as your weakest defender. That's going to change everything, dictates matchup, everything. Against the Atlanta Hawks, looks like they're about to take the W, or if they already did. We'll see that. They have some truly athletic swingmen. They have some truly athletic guards. We'll see how that matches up here at TPL when we start to dig deep dive into the Atlanta Hawks. But kudos to Furkan Korkmaz. He's earned every bit.
Yeah. Now, the last guy I really want to get into before we try to sum up this pod, Danny Green. Danny Green, to me, is one of the most underappreciated guys coming into the season and throughout this season. The amount of IQ that he brings to the floor, the amount of things he does that aren't just scoring, to me is insane. I mean, the guy had a plus 12 night, scoring 5 points as a shooter. Guy had 5 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. He was at 2 for 7, but still a plus 12 with 2 steals and 2 steals in big moments, and big like momentum shifting moments. Like,
well, we talk about deflections a lot as Sixers fans, right?
Yes,
you get
sir.
those deflections, you get those hands where they need to be, right? And he does that a lot.
Yep.
A lot. He tends to have his hands where they need to be. And that's just coming from being in the league for however long, and being on teams that needed to play defense, right? He's always played on defensively driven teams.
Yep.
And that's where it comes in with the Sixers. We're a defensively driven team. You got to put your hands where they need to be.
Well, and listen, Danny Green is a veteran presence that this young group has needed the past 3 or 4 seasons. If Danny Green is on that team that loses to the Danny Green Raptors, I think it's a different series. He's just a guy who knows how to play, who knows how the game goes, who knows how the mentality has to be. And look, before tonight, he had shot 52% from 3 in this series. So it's not like he wasn't doing his job. And that tonight he was a little bit off. But guess what? He hits the huge 3 towards the end of the first half. He gets that steal on Russell Westbrook, at one point in this game, and takes that offensive foul towards the end of the first. I mean, they're the things that Danny Green does that, once again, Dibes mentioned this earlier about a couple other guys. It may not always end up in the box score, but it doesn't mean it's any less valuable to a team who's built like this. And I mean, from the coaches to the players, this team is built so well that it really would be a crime if they don't get this thing done this year. You know what I mean? They are built so well from top to bottom. And here in Philly, for the Sixers, that is, we don't see that very often. And
there's only one position that I think that's a little lackluster, and that is the backup power forward position.
Tony Bradley's position. That's the one.
All right. Dives, what are your thoughts on Danny Green?
No, Rob stole it from me. Is that, Danny Green is that pros pro, just like George Hill, where he might not be like the perfect guy if Ben's out, if Joel's out, if Toby's out, and you're expecting to get 20 plus points on a huge shooting night. That's not who Danny Green is. But what Danny Green has proven to be and shown to be is a perfect complementary piece to Ben and Joel. So he has done his role in this series and then some. He's right around that 10 to 12 points, just thriving in the catch and shoot. Before tonight, he was shooting something astronomical, 60% from 3 in the catch and shoot. He does have his defensive lapses, no question, but he also has a lot of standout defensive moments against some of the top guards in the NBA. It's going to be really interesting how he handles Trae Young in this series moving forward. We'll talk about that in future podcasts. But Danny Green is that, like I said, he's one of those pieces to the puzzle that makes everything look like just wrapping in a bow. And it just, when everyone's healthy, and it just looks like that John Williams film score is beautiful. Danny Green is a key component to that.
Yeah, so overall, guys, this series, just to wrap up this series, man, fun to watch. The Sixers, realistically, obviously last game, game 4 where Embiid went down, really tough to see. You don't want to see that, especially in the first round of the playoffs. But ultimately, the Sixers convincingly beat the Wizards in every game, it seemed like, besides that. And you love to see it. That's a championship team, in my opinion. And hopefully we can move on to the next round and go at the Hawks with our MVP in Joel Embiid. So anybody have any last thoughts about this before we go? What's up?
Tobias Harris, in order for the Sixers to advance, Tobias Harris has to show that he is that dominant second scorer for the Philadelphia 76ers. That was one of the main concerns I had coming into Game 5. He showed it. He had a really strong first few games, really struggled there in Game 4. I wanted Tobias Harris to make a statement in this game that he is that dominant guy that's going to take mismatches and exploit them, and he did that tonight. If the Sixers are going to get to or beat the Bucks or the Nets, Tobias Harris has to be exploiting mismatches and backing them down in the paint and using his touch around the rim. We saw that tonight. That's my main take, is that Tobias Harris is ready. We need Toby to be ready to go.
Gotcha. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm going to put it to you this way. Sixers fans, even if Joel Embiid is not playing in Game 1, which I do think is possible,
Mm-hmm.
He's going to play again. He's going to be able to play at a high enough level to make an impact. So just breathe. just breathe. All right. Everything is going to be okay. Here's all I can say is we got to enjoy this ride.
Yep.
Win this series. And then let's get ready for a battle with who I believe is going to be the Nets, because I just think they're, look, Brooke, I know what Milwaukee did to Miami, but everybody forgets there was a major revenge factor in that series from last year. Okay, Milwaukee was not happy. So I think it'll be the Nets. I think it'll be what we've been waiting for months. Sixers, Nets, Eastern Conference Finals, and let's go. Let's just go. Let's enjoy this run. Because here's the thing. This city embraced the 2001 team. This team is better. This team is more talented from top to bottom. And I'm telling you right now, they're going to be good for a while. So we need to get used to this. We need to stop being negative with the Sixers and just understand we got a lot of positivity coming with this team. So enjoy this moment. Enjoy it.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead, Dabs.
And all I got to say is Sixers Atlanta. Sixers and 4.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it done. All right, Dabs, what's up with you?
I just want to piggyback off of Rob real quick is that Sixers fans, please, take the second to pause and realize what you're watching right now. This is going to be a wild ride. We just beat the Wizards 4-1. Guys, you're not going to find, you're going to, everywhere you go beyond here is going to be agenda-driven, narratives coming left and right. Follow us here at the Painted Lines because we will give you real basketball talk with stats, rational talk, calling everyone, calling them out,
telling it how it is.
We will tell you how it is. If you're watching now, please be sure to subscribe. And there's a lot of garbage out there right now that are dying right now because of their narratives. You're not going to find that here. That's one of the biggest things I'm most proud of about this channel, top to bottom from all of our shows. We tell you how it is, and it's not bullshit. It's not narrative driven. It's not agenda driven. So please be sure to like if you love that content. And thank you everybody here for watching.
Definitely, definitely. We appreciate Rob and Coyle coming on this show. We have this show after every game, after every series. So please come back, and we hope to see at Philly Madness Rob come back, and we hope to see at Roozer24 come back as well. So make sure you guys go follow them on Twitter. Go follow Mr. Crockpot on Twitter, aka Dives, aka Chris. He is my partner in crime with this. Go follow me on Twitter if you want, and make sure you go follow the Painted Lines as well. Go check out our YouTube channel. We got a bunch of stuff on there. Check out the website. Check out our Twitter, Instagram, everything, Facebook, all the Painted Lines. You'll find it. So we appreciate y'all watching. If you haven't already, drop a like. And guys, we will see y'all next time. Go Sixers.
Go Sixers.